So recently I reported on the possibility of an election recount to contest the election of Donald Trump. Now look, there were some irregularities, okay? There's the possibility of hacking, even though there isn't really a lot of evidence for it actually happening. Even though there isn't a lot of evidence, that still doesn't mean it's not possible. And so, look, a recount kind of makes sense. Now, on the heels of several experts and computer scientists saying, hey, do a recount anyway, just so that we can make sure, just so that we can validate. Well, the Clinton campaign, up until now, was like, no, I don't really feel like doing this. Sorry. I don't really feel like doing a recount. Okay, well, fine. So here comes Jill Stein and the Green Party stepping up to make that shit happen. Here we go. Green Party has gotten involved. In fact, Jill Stein has raised over $5 million to pay for this recount to happen in Wisconsin. And in any other place applicable, like, for example, Michigan and Pennsylvania, which had really, really close results on the elections, well, they want to do a recount there as well. So, awesome, right? Now, it's not because she necessarily believes that it will change the result, but because in her words, she wants to do this to verify and to also use this as a reason to change the way voting works. Because right now, our system seems to leave too many questions about the veracity of the way our elections are run. And so a lot of people don't think that their vote counts. Now, a recount effort would put some of these questions to rest and actually might start a conversation about changing the system so that we don't have a question of the integrity of our elections. Now, originally, as I said, the Clinton campaign, not really all that interested. But now, since it's almost paid for, the Clinton campaign is saying, I guess, okay, we'll allow it. Interesting. Now, this is a Clinton campaign lawyer, Marc Elias. Now, he wrote this in Medium, and he said, because we had not uncovered any actionable evidence of hacking or outside attempts to alter the voting technology, we had not planned to exercise this option ourselves. But now that a recount has been initiated in Wisconsin, we intend to participate in order to ensure the process proceeds in a manner that is fair to all sides. Look, on this whole statement, this pretty much reeks of Democratic, let's lead from behind. Of course. Lead from behind. All right. Now, let's see. Now, the question is on that. Do you Democrats, do you even know how to fight? Do you? You're leading from behind. You should have taken the lead for this fight. It shouldn't have fallen to Jill Stein to stand up and say, no, we should have a recount because there are too many questions in this election. And even though we don't think it's going to change the outcome, we need to have a conversation about the Electoral College, for one, and also these voting machines, which are hackable. If anybody has seen Hacking Democracy or hasn't already, that is something that you need to check out. Anyway, do you even know how to fight? Do you have a backbone? No, I don't think you do. Now, we know also, thanks to investigative journalist Greg Palast, who talked about the cross-check system, that there was massive voter suppression of African Americans, especially in some of these very important swing states. We know that cross-check is a system that essentially purged people on the assumption that they were voting twice because they had similar names. That's not, that doesn't mean that you're voting twice. It means you have a similar name, but of course they targeted African Americans and Latinos, mostly African Americans, and purged them from the voter rolls. Oh, look, guess who African Americans vote for more? Democrats, of course. And before someone else decided to spearhead and pay for it, these guys in the Democratic Party, they were willing to lay down and not contest all this bullshit. Which, of course, is a classic establishment move because I believe that they are paid not to fight. And now that Jill Stein has jumped into this, looks like they don't have a choice. They got embarrassed in the corner. So, there you go. All right. Look, according to NBC News, There's an article. Wisconsin election officials have said that they received Stein's paperwork just to make sure that this isn't like, oh, Stein just raising money just for herself, blah, blah, blah. No, there's actual paperwork that's filed. And Wisconsin is saying that they are waiting to obtain a cost estimate from county clerks to calculate a fee the campaign must pay before the recount can start. However, the Wisconsin Election Commission staff announced Saturday that has already pulled together a timeline it expects the commission to approve. So that timeline would actually have the recount begin on Thursday, following federal law calling for it to be completed within 35 days of Election Day. That so-called safe harbor date is December 13th. So if it's going to get done, tick-tock, tick-tock, there's not a lot of time. Now, again, I've said this before. A recount wouldn't necessarily prove that Hillary Clinton won the election. Nobody here is of the hopes that, no, this will overturn it, and then suddenly we'll have, centrist Hillary Clinton? Yeah, okay. Not a great result, right? That's not why we're fighting here. In fact, I'm not saying that, and the people that are calling for a recount are not saying that. What we're saying is that there's too much doubt in our election system right now. We just want to make sure, we just want verification. That's all. That's not too much to ask, I don't think. But of course, a lot of people disagree. I'll get to that in a minute. No. See, the problem is that there are voting systems, and I've called for this, I've talked about this before. So don't think that this is anything new. There are voting systems, the voting machines, the Diebold voting machines, that can be hacked, that can be programmed very easily by somebody who cares enough to do so. That is a big problem, because that leads to results that are erroneous and can change elections, especially in ones that are really, really close. So it's not too much to ask to change that so that we can have a system that is much more verifiable, so that we don't have the specter of voter fraud over our heads, which unfortunately Republicans love to use in order to invalidate democratic elections, which is not what we're trying to do. In fact, Donald Trump could get a bigger margin of victory if he were to, if we were to do a recount. There's no saying that it couldn't go the other way and that Donald Trump could win more. I don't know. But he doesn't seem interested in doing so. Now, here's the other thing, right? Back to Jill Stein. I believe that Jill Stein is trying to get verification. Not trying to pad her rules or anything like that. I just think that she's going for verification. I actually believe her. Okay? And there are many people who don't. I mean, Donald Trump calls it a scam. And of course, this is the guy, this is the irony about this, who claims that without evidence, 3 million illegals voted for Hillary Clinton, and that's why she had to lead in the popular vote. Well, if they did, then you should also be calling for verification. A recount of the votes would expose these kinds of things. So shouldn't you be in favor of that? Republicans, shouldn't you be in favor? I thought you all you cared about was the integrity of elections. Well, we care too. So join us in the recount. It would be the same thing if, for example, the tables were turned and there was a lot of issues of voter fraud or electoral fraud. There would be Trump supporters asking for verification. If you're so secure in your results, then why not? Especially if it's paid for by someone else. It's a win-win. But see, it's not just Donald Trump. There are also Democrats that are against this. Now, the Hill reports that establishment Democrats are calling this whole recount thing a waste of time and money. Again, not theirs and not taxpayers' money, so why should you care? In fact, this is Democratic strategist Joe Trippi, who served as campaign manager for former Vermont Governor Howard Dean. Oh, here we go. Real progressive champion there. He said, quote, "It's a waste of time and money, and it's not going to change anything. I think it probably was the Stein people looking for a way to stay relevant, raise some money, and take the stink off of them. Instead of everybody screaming, 'You made Trump happen,' she is counting the votes to change the whole narrative." Hey, Joe Trippi, fuck off. Okay, fuck you. You're a douchebag. No, You want to know what made Trump happen? And look, this is coming from somebody who voted for Hillary Clinton, right? If it wasn't election flawed, it was your bad candidate. It was Hillary fucking Clinton. Now, I'm not saying election fraud definitely happened. Okay? No. What we're saying is your candidate was shit. It was a shit candidate. I voted for a shit candidate. I know that. Now, what happened is that you and your party, Joe, you ignored millennials, you ignored working people, and you ignored the anti-establishment anger of this country. Anger that we warned you about. We said, iceberg, dead ahead. I've got videos going back all the way into the summer and previously, where I'm saying iceberg dead ahead. If you nominate Hillary Clinton, she's going to lose to Donald Trump. What do you think happened? What happened? What happened? And this is, look, without the voter fraud or election fraud. No. See, what you did, Joe, is that you ignored all that and you ran the most establishment Democrat that you could find. And you and the DNC had your thumb on the scale, your hand on the scale, your whole body on the scale. Even while Bernie Sanders was out there drawing massive crowds into the Democratic Party, in which your candidate later responded, "We don't need you. We don't need you. Oh, we don't need those Sanders, those Bernie bros. No. Really? Well, it turns out you kind of did. You did need them. It's not the Stein people that made you lose. It was you. It was you. It was your candidate. It was your fucking hubris. No, we got this in the bag. We couldn't possibly lose to Donald Trump. He's a racist. He's a misogynist. By the way, yes, that's exactly what he is. But you know what? You don't win elections by saying, that guy's a poopy head. Okay, so what are you going to do for us? I'm going to keep everything the same. Well, gee, everything the same is not exactly working for us. You going to do something different? No, we're not. Well, I guess I'm going to go with poopy head. I can understand that, even if I completely disagree with it. At least I can understand it. Look, here's the other thing, right? Back to the voter or election fraud, right? Look, this campaign was no doubt close enough between these two for some voter suppression, which did happen, and dirty tricks to end up winning the day. And if one side can do dirty tricks to win, what's to prevent the other side? Oh, right. It's called verification. It's called accountability. It's called changing the way we do elections, which is exactly what Jill Stein says she's trying to do. And it's exactly what we've been calling for. Hand-counted paper ballots. Get rid of the voting machines. Actually have people that are, ballots that are counted in front of people openly. That will help. That will eliminate the specter of fraud. That is the only way to do so. And that's what we need to do as a country, other than standardize our voting practices all across the states. We need a standardized system that is accountable and verifiable. And I believe the hand-counted paper ballots is exactly what we need to do. And unfortunately, these kinds of solutions are exactly what this asshole, Joe Trippi, wants to ignore. As far as Jill Stein, man, I give her all the credit in the world for doing this. I don't think this is selfishly motivated. She's got nothing to win out of it. So she's got nothing to gain, and she's even taking heat from Democrats now and so-called liberals for just trying to verify our elections. No, she's doing the right thing, and you guys in the Democratic establishment, you're doing the wrong thing.
We are not meant to live in shame and weakness and disgrace. We were not meant to beg for moral validation from some of the most despicable creatures to ever populate the planet.